colon 423 get fame. That's 423 get fame. I would tell you to leave a message, but the truth is, I don't really care. I've had this hotline open for months, and not one of you jokers have what it takes to be famous like me. So leave a message if you want, but don't expect a call back. I've got way more important things to do than to waste my time on losers like Mascarita Sagrada and you all. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hey there, folks, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 20 of the Grave Consequences podcast. Of course, a podcast centered around Lucha Underground. We're here to review Season 2, Episode 20 of the show, and it is titled The Contenders. My name is Caleb Baldwin. You can follow me on Twitter at IamCalebB. Follow my co-host, producer, and friend Greg at XMaserati on Twitter. Follow at GC_cast as well. We have a Gmail. I think it's like graveconsequencespod@gmail.com. Hit that up if you want to. That's fine. Yeah. We'll read those emails for sure. Also, check out everything else here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network, including, as of recording on October 28th, new to the network podcast, the AEW Match Guide podcast, hosted by Sir Sam from the Wrestling Headlines, formerly Lords of Pain website.
I was wondering who was doing that. I saw that when I was uploading our videos. I thought, because I didn't remember anyone talking about it.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Okay. I thought Floyd was just trying to double his numbers.
Yeah. Floyd's just gumming the numbers up, man. Bro, it is wild to think it's been almost 3 years since AEW started.
It has? Jeez.
Well, yeah, and I think the pandemic kind of, drug everything out, but yeah, it's been almost 3 years. They released their little YouTube video on, I think, New Year's Day or New Year's Eve of 2018, New Year's Day 2019, whatever. But hey, we're not here to talk about AEW. We are here to talk about the future stars of AEW in 2016. And actually, the first segment didn't feature anyone from AEW, at least as of yet. This first segment, we had Dario Cueto in his office talking to Black Lotus. And, Black Lotus is like, hey, Azteca Jr. knows where Matanza's at and he wants to kill him. He says that Matanza is responsible for killing my parents. Dario hears this and immediately just goes into gaslighting mode. And for some reason, Lotus is it seems like she's getting the tiniest bit suspicious, but she's still not catching on.
No, she's pretty stupid. Let's just call her stupid. She's like, she's like, hey, he said that, it was actually you that or Matanza that killed my parents. And she's like, are you sure you're not lying to me? He's like, yeah. But at the same time, didn't Dragon Azteca trained her, didn't he? Yeah, he trained her.
But he also kidnapped her.
Yeah, dude, she's stupid. It's a really weak plot line. And they're finally getting around to answer questions about it. Oh, it sounds like a snowstorm's happening over there.
Over here?
Yeah, a lot of static. You're kind of... Yeah, I can't even hear what you're saying. You're all muffled. Well, anyway, Caleb's muted himself, but I think he's having some technical issues. But this whole storyline is
just technical difficulties.
Wow, you actually sound way better than usual.
Yeah, I do. That's good.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying a particular set of headphones, and they're actually working to do the opposite of what they were supposed to do. So that's awesome. But they accomplished that. I believe they set up a match for Ultima Lucha Dos here, in Black Lotus versus El Dragon Azteca Jr. So that's the first confirmed match of Ultima Lucha Dos.
This is just a stupid plot line. Like it's just asking a lot. And I'm gonna do my best not to compare it to something in AEW, but it's just really asking a lot of the viewer to just kind of like trust us. And we're in season 2. We're about 20 episodes into season 2. There was 40 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, and there's only 26 in this one.
So we're at 20, so it's about 60 episodes. That's enough time to fix things. I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
No, you're right. But yeah, let's move on. The Voodoo Glow Skulls are, of course, they're here. And later tonight, we're actually going to have a Nunchuck match. So that sounds awesome.
And when I heard that, I was like, yes, I need more of this. But ultimately, I kind of eat my words, I guess.
Well, okay, before we get there, though, Melissa is in the ring, and she's introducing Marty, and Marty's breathing on her the whole time. And eventually, Melissa just runs off. And Marty, starts to, just kind of be a creep. And he's begging for Killshot to come out. At one point, the crowd gets silent. And one fan in particular yells, "You're weird, Marty."
I love that part. That popped me.
That popped me too, bro. And it popped the crowd as well. Marty eventually begs for Killshot. And he even makes this crappy "Oh, unless you've gone AWOL." Yeah. And then Killshot is behind Marty this whole time, which leads to our first match of the night. But it's a short one. Marty the Moth versus Killshot. There's nothing here. This is just a stunt, just a brawl outside of the ring. Leads to a short double count out, and they brawl after the bell. Killshot eventually can get his dog tags back, but he's lollygagging around. He's holding them, and he's lollygagging. Got his back completely turned to Marty, and of course Marty wakes up and gets the better of him and gets his dog gets Killshot's dog tags back.
I was lost because I didn't even hear the bell ring for the match to start, but
it rung right after Killshot hit him.
And they were in the ring when he hit him?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, like you said, this was a nothing. It's not even worth rating.
Well, yeah, it's just meant to, I would assume, extend this to Ultima Lucha Dos, but we'll see. After that, we have got an interview for Mr. Cisco, who is being held, because he got arrested. And Cortez and the captain, they want him to wear a wire. And he's like, "Yo, I ain't no snitch. Snitches get stitches," that sort of thing. And man. And eventually, they're gonna leave, and they're like, "Have fun. You're gonna rot in a cell." And they start to leave, and Cisco's like, "Well, you know what? What are the charges anyway?" They run off this laundry list of charges they have on him, or could get him on, and then they end with, "You know what? And it's even worse. His success could bring about the demise of the planet."
Yeah, and they don't do
established by the goofy not head canon, by the goofy canon of Lucha Underground. The Antichrist has a vested interest in the temple.
And they haven't really shown, which is good. You don't always want to show a lot, but I think it's also still asking a lot because they're trying to be serious with this undercover cop stuff.
Yeah.
But then they have supernatural stuff going on, but they're not really showing you. Me and you know what's going on because we've seen season 4.
Yeah.
But they really take their time with it, and I don't think, I'm not implying that they should have sped up, but upon first watch, it doesn't really mean much. If this was your first time watching this, you'd be like, okay. End of days. Cool.
Yeah. Well, on first watch, it's like, oh, they're just exaggerating. But it's like, no, this is to be taken serious.
Yeah, and it can be hard to tell because sometimes he gets real goofy with nunchuck matches, and other nonsense.
Actually, that's funny because, and we're gonna get right into it, but I actually like the nunchuck match. I like the goofiness of it.
I normally would, but me and you were talking, and these 2 episodes were kind of a slog to get through.
Well, the next one's a 1-match episode, so it's like you got to have something really good. You can't give me something cookie cutter. It's got to be really good if you're going to keep me invested for an entire 45-minute time period.
Yep. And it's not that I hated the nunchuck match. It's just, I think it was one of those things where I've been watching a lot of wrestling. I've been watching Stardom and MLW and AEW, and I've watched a GCW match. I watched Jacob Fatu versus Alex Hammerstone.
Yeah.
So it's just I've been watching a lot of wrestling. So when I got to this, I kind of wanted a little bit more.
Fair enough. See, I've been doing just the opposite. I've been watching like the bare minimum of wrestling since the MLB playoffs started. Quite frankly, go Braves! 2 games into the World Series as of recording. So for me, this was like a welcomed break from that because I've basically just been watching a lot of baseball. So I enjoyed the nunchuck match. I particularly enjoyed because, there were a lot of, it was a big time stunt brawl. There was a lot of high dives and everything. And the Technicos get the win. But one particular spot I really enjoyed just for the goofiness of it. Jack, looks at PJ Black. Oh, by the way, we didn't state already. Aerostar and Drago versus PJ Black and Jack Evans. I thought that was obvious by the way the story had been told. Anyway, Jack Evans, not Jack Black, pardon me, looks at PJ Black and he yells, "PJ, nunchucks!" And they both do air guitar, and they add in the air guitar sound effect again.
I love Worldwide Underground. I do like them a lot. They only get better.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is like Jack Evans and PJ Black are probably the best part of Worldwide Underground.
Oh, easily. I mean, my God, dude, if imagine if Johnny Mundo came to AEW and they reformed Worldwide Underground, but they also had Angelico in there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they replaced PJ Black with Angelico because I think PJ Black's retired now. I'm pretty sure he is.
Well, I was gonna say maybe he's working for Ring of Honor, but I think in about 3 months, hardly anyone will. Pardon me. R.I.P. to a real one. But yeah, he's either retired or on a Ring of Honor contract. But yeah, I don't know. You could, I don't know, Johnny Mundo in any promotion, if he wanted to reform Worldwide Underground and they gave him, but do it in NXT even. I don't care. I know Johnny Mundo's in his 40s. His wife's already there. Get some young upstarts in the group. Have some fun, That's the place to do it. You got guys like Braun Breaker and Andrew Chase and all these other guys. Worldwide Underground would fit perfectly, or some form of that would fit perfectly in NXT 2.0.
Any place that has factions for long term, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this next match was our main event of the evening, and my God, was this a clusterfuck. So this was a 12-man tag, and here's the thing: it's 6 on. I say 12-man. 12 person, 12 luchador. The winning 6-person team would advance to an elimination match next week, and the winner of that would go to Ultima Lucha Dos to challenge Matanza Cueto for the Lucha Underground Championship. Now, here were the teams here: Prince Puma, Tejano, the Mac, Son of Havoc, Sexy Star, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Now on the other side, and there's a mix here on the other side of Rudos and Technicos. We've got Phoenix, Ivelisse, King Cuerno, Taya, Johnny Mundo. And we thought, because we were introduced to Chavo Guerrero, But after Chavo Guerrero, all of a sudden Pentagon comes in on his hover round, and the crowd pops for him, but they don't I thought I heard a couple of scoffs at the little scooter, because you have to remember, they probably guaranteed they have not seen the vignettes of Pentagon in the torture rehab, so they don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. They actually, had they seen that, they might have laughed even harder, because I laughed because I was reminded how stupid those segments were, dude. Like, it's ridiculous what I can't reiterate enough how ridiculous.
No, I want to reiterate that Vampiro cured his broken back where he couldn't move his legs by pouring hot wax and hitting him with a baseball bat while he was hanging.
Yep. Dude, they should have just gone full-blown, like, some form of, like, you've seen Child's Play, I assume.
A long time ago, yeah.
Adue, Dembala, give me the power, I beg of you. Something like that. Some sort of voodoo spell to heal his back, dude. That would have been cool. That would have been interesting.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, clickgrainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Interesting.
That would have been way better. Any kind of it's the kind of environment to have mysticism. You're right.
Exactly. You would have been able to take that remotely serious as compared to Ian Hodgkinson dressed up like Tobias from Ghost, pouring candle wax over Pentagon and singing him the Whisper song, I assume.
But that's what you get when you get someone that is pretty much a poser. Like, if I'm going to be honest, like, has he been in vampire cults? Probably not. Someone that Vampire is the kind of guy that you go to high school with that claims to do all this cool, weird, well, he thinks it's cool, but all this weird, dark, edgy stuff. And then you find out he just hangs out in his bedroom all day.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, this would be cool if I could be like, a cult leader and I'd use all this mystical candle wax. And it's what happens when people just don't check you and don't go like, well, that actually sounds stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And I worry that particular writers on the show would have been scared to check in because, by all accounts, like, Vampiro seems... It wouldn't surprise me if Vampiro was a bully in certain situations. I will say that.
I can definitely see him being a bully because I think, we've heard about him bullying people on the mic in like AAA and burying people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is just I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you're right. This if they were following it, they probably would have laughed harder.
Yeah. Exactly. But anyway, Pentagon says, you know what, Chavo, you believed in me when no one else would. And it's like, well, like, oh, you're playing him, right? Because, like, everyone knows he didn't believe in you. He was just using you. So I assume Pentagon, was aware of that, and he's just kind of leading him on. Anyway, Pentagon steps up out of his scooter and just beats the shit out of Chavo, even breaks his arm.
Yeah, it was kind of like, why would you even try to be friends with Pentagon? He's made it clear that he's a weird kind of face because his whole gimmick I guess he's a face still.
Here's the thing. He's definitely a face in reception. His actions have not changed since he started breaking arms. He's still
exactly. It's such a weird, like, he's not even anti-hero. He's just like, I'm evil. And everyone's like, yay, we love you.
To me, it's like a Steve Austin thing, because like Stone Cold didn't really change his game up. People just kind of started liking him.
I can see that. I don't think Stone Cold was as sadistic, though.
Fair enough.
If you catch my drift, like, Pentagon his character is like, I'll kick puppies if they lick me, kind of evil. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
But either way, Dario Cueto comes out and for some reason says, hey, you know what? You took out Chavo. And he's like, I guess I reward violence. So you know what? You can replace Chavo. And, you know, if you guys win, you go to the 6 to survive, which, by the way, I like puns. That's actually a pretty cool name for a 6-pack challenge, in my opinion. 6 to survive.
Yeah. It should have been. I don't know if it's the name of the episode, but it should have been.
It is the name of next week's episode.
Okay.
Anyway, the mix of Rudos and Technicos get the win after Johnny Mundo steals it for them. And particularly, like, a lot of the Technicos seem to handle the loss, like, okay, but, like, Puma and Mysterio both seem pretty distraught in particular.
Well, there was one spot where they made Mundo look really strong in this match, and I don't know if it was entirely intentional. Yeah. There's one part where he, as a heel, he goes in there, he's getting his ass kicked, but he gets taken to the face corner, and he just a switch flips, and he grabs, I think, Puma and throws him into Rey Mysterio and knocks 2 of the faces out. He just all of a sudden goes into sicko mode and just beats the shit out of everybody, and then he gets the win because he pushes. Ray and Puma are on the same page, and Ray is setting up Mundo, or he's setting up Puma to do his 630.
Yeah.
But Mundo ends up kicking Ray into Puma, making him drop balls first on the turnbuckle.
Of course.
And then I forget what else he did, but he, like, they're setting up that storyline too.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, we need a full card for Ultima Lucha. But, you know, anyway, because as soon as Pentagon came out, you know, I feel like anyone else would have been like, even a first-time viewer would be like, okay, well, clearly Pentagon's team has to win, right?
You would think.
Yeah. I mean, you know, last time we saw Pentagon in the temple, he had his back broken against the champion. So you assume he'd face the champion again. You know, that's the AF.
I mean, I was confused because you're right. They did say at one point that it's for the championship, but I missed it. I went through this whole episode going, what's the point of this? Like, I understood that it was like, you know, the winning team would fight each other. You know, I actually just assumed that. I was like, okay, they're probably going to have the winning team compete against each other. But I missed it the first couple times they must have said it, because I was like, what's the point? Like, I felt like I missed an episode, frankly. I was like, did I skip an episode? Like, I had to go back and look. I was like, no, we did episode 19. I was like, what did I miss? Because there was no setup for this match.
They totally mentioned it on commentary that, like, hey, you know, the winning team faces each other, and the winner of that gets a shot at Matanza.
It's funny you say that, because I think I've started blocking commentary out.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Hey, that's not all the episode yet, because we see Katrina beside the trophy case, which was housing Mil Muertes, or as we call him, Millie. And she says, rise. She commands him to rise. And he does so, and his eyes are red. And
did you see the cross stitching in his mask? The red lace?
I did not see that.
He has like red cross stitching in his mask, and I was thinking to myself, has his mask always looked like that, or are they trying to imply like his mask was like cut in half somehow or something? I don't know.
Well, his mask, if you remember the Graver Consequences match, he had his mask torn by Matanza.
Oh,
you don't remember that? I mean, I will grant that was like a month ago now, but yeah.
No, that makes sense. It's a good attention to detail on their part.
Yeah. Yeah. You think the taxidermist that Cuerno took him to did that for him?
Dude, I laughed because I was so I just pictured in my head him coughing up those packing peanuts, and I was just I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my god! Because I sent Rich the clip, and he has it on the YouTube, and it was so fresh in my head. I was like, my god, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, weekend at Millie's, my man.
I didn't expect it to come back so soon.
Well, again, it's one of those like, and look, this is a minor critique I will have of this season in particular. they are not. It's not instant gratification, but it's pretty close to it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
yeah,
it's like Pentagon stands up out of his chair and then is immediately like put into a position where, okay, now he's only got to win one more match to challenge Matanza. It's like, no, if you do that right, you could get so much juice out of that to like, you don't even have to have them face each other until like early on into season 3, even, quite frankly. Like, you don't have to do that match at Ultima Lucha Dos, which they may or may not be doing. Now, that being said, you know, and you might ask, like, well, what do you do in its stead? Here's what I would have done, you know, if you want to hold off on a potential Pentagon and Matanza match. You had Cage win that Gift of the Gods. Instead of him saying, I'm getting your brother next week, you say, I'm getting your brother at Ultima Lucha. And you have like 6 weeks to build it up. 6 episodes to build it up. You know, and you can have Dario try to stack the deck against him, try to, you know, make him defend his title every week. And, you know, Cage just keeps, you know, handling business. And you set up a monster mash at Ultima Lucha Dos. And they didn't do that. But to me, it was a viable option. And they chose to go elsewhere.
I'm going to say that it's actually more than a viable option because I completely agree with you in that, and I completely agree with you that Pentagon doesn't need the match against Matanza unless he's going to win.
Yeah, which he may or may not.
He may or may not, but it's just like if you were to book, let's say you were to book Pentagon to come back, win his first match, and then win the second match to get the title shot.
Yeah.
Would you also then book him to lose to Matanza when he's already lost to him like within a month? I would say
probably not. No.
For basically your WrestleMania, or is there other matches to have with Matanza?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, and I think it'll be pretty obvious, you know, by the way they set the match up, you know, having Pentagon, you know, take someone else's spot and help win the match and everything. Like, it's Matanza's match at Ultima Lucha Dos isn't even the main event of the season finale. Like, you have something like, if you're like, well, that's not big enough for Ultima Lucha. It's one, who are you competing against? It's, you know, you're entirely funded by El Rey Network. Like, you're just fine until season 4. Second, you've already got, spoiler alert, I think it's pretty obvious by the finish of this main event, you've got your main event for Ultima Lucha Dos, and it's going to be a banger. And you know what I'm talking about, I assume.
Yes, I remember that.
Exactly. You know, you don't necessarily have to throw out your A++. You know what I'm saying? But they thought otherwise. They thought, hey, we need to basically hot shot this, quite frankly.
And I'm going to say it, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but it doesn't pay off, in my opinion. If I remember, and it could be one of those things where I eat my words again, where I'm like, wow, I was completely wrong. But there were certain season 2 is when it starts having, not often, but it starts having things that just do not land. Like we talked about Matanza's finisher. Like, I liked Matanza's matches upon a rewatch, but the finish, the Tour of the Islands is not a good finisher. Yeah.
Well, there's one particular episode in season 3 that actually lost them a lot of viewers, and I think I know you know which one I'm talking about.
I actually don't, but we can talk about it off the air.
We'll talk about it off the air. Yeah. Either way, folks, we're gonna grade the episode now. Despite my little critique there of the product this season, this episode was fine. I'm gonna give it we go letter grade.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been how long since we've recorded? I'm going to give this a C+. You know, I can't go high praise, but there wasn't anything truly offensive about this episode other than the Black Lotus crap.
I'm going to give it the same grade because, as I stated earlier, I don't think I was in the right mood to watch this. I just kind of had to before we recorded today. And I kind of pride us on the fact that we haven't missed an airing.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a combination of watching all the other wrestling that's great. You watch too much of anything, and eventually you're what you need is you need a higher dose. You need a dosage, a better fix. But I think the main event I did like, so I'm going to give it a C+ as well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, you watch too much of anything, you might get desensitized. I had a buddy who, so Women's College World Series, so softball, he watches like 3 days worth of, the peak of softball athletes. And, softball is a much faster paced game than baseball. Well, the day after the tournament's over, I said, hey buddy, you want to go to this Drillers game? And they're a minor league team. Well, he's like, okay. And the whole time he's just bitching because, the Drillers were getting, mollywopped until like the 8th inning. They did end up coming back. But anyway, he's like, yeah, it's like, it was torture trying to watch that game after watching so much great softball. And it's kind of similar, different sport, obviously, but similar narrative.
Yeah, it can definitely affect how you feel about things if you watch, too much of anything. I watched the newest Dune that came out, and I liked it. Yeah. But it is 2.5 hours long, and I tried to watch it again shortly after watching it, and I had to turn it. Even though I enjoyed it, I had to turn it off when it got to a certain point because I knew the pacing I was in store for the next couple segments. I was like, I don't really want to watch this next part.
Fair enough, my man. Fair enough. Hey, folks, that is going to be this episode. We thank you for listening. Oh, also, I forgot to mention at the top, check them out every Wednesday night after Dynamite for Eddie and Caleb's Hero Cast. That is a hero movie-based podcast that I am on. Subscribe on whatever you subscribe on, Apple, Podcast Addict, Spotify. I think we're on Spotify. Whatever you want. It's all good either way. We thank you for listening. And, sometimes if you hotshot angles too much, your show might suffer grave consequences.
Ugh. Hi, Angel.
Hi, Devil. Uh-oh, is she shopping again? Calm down. She's just browsing electric toothbrushes.
It's easy to be unsafe online.
It's asking for her passport info to buy a toothbrush? Sounds legit to me.
Now it's easy to help protect yourself. Norton 360 with LifeLock gives you device security, a VPN for online privacy, and identity theft protection, all in one. Opt in to cyber safety. Save 25% or more off your first year at norton.com/news.
At Giant Eagle, we've always loved our perks. Now we're excited to welcome you all to the future of loyalty with My Perks. There's no math, less rules, and more perks. 50 perks equals $1 off your total, and there are no limits. Plus, you earn perks even when you redeem, so you're always building rewards towards free gas and groceries. Guests who earn the most perks can now unlock My Perks Pro, and pros get even more pumped up savings. Visit gianteagle.com/myperks to switch today.